Alrighty, what's up YouTube? Here to show you my newest keyblade, Mickey's Kingdom Key D, which stands for dark because he has the dark version of Sora's light keyblade. This is all made from wood in pretty much two pieces on my new lathe, which is a Shop Fox lathe. And I use that to round everything out, and I use a skill saw and all that to shape the pieces. Um, so yeah, what I did was I just cut out the main pole and the crown here, like this whole main pole here, and rounded everything out. And I used a belt sander and a Dremel to taper this down because it is supposed to be tapered. Not. And I used the Dremel to, I don't know if you can see it that well, to put the grid in here. And because I used oak instead of either pine or poplar, you can see a lot of the wood grain in there. So when I make Sora's Kingdom Keyblade, hopefully right after Otakon, when I finish my orders, I'll make it out of poplar because it's sturdy and you won't be able to see the wood grain. Another thing you can see these are devils, or yeah, devils or depresses in the wood and not holes. Okay, that's a big thing. And there's a band, raised band on each side of the top part of the handguard, and only one on the back side. If you look at the Kingdom Hearts 3D launch trailer, roughly around 55 seconds into the video, you see a lot of detail in the Keyblade when Sora's swinging it around, if you pause it. And you can also tell that there are grooves here, not bands, which a lot of people seem to think. So yeah, this was my first Kingdom Keyblade, and I thought I did alright. The next one, I'll have things I can improve on. You can also see that the handle is not quite as thick as the main pole here. This is 1.5 inches thick, the same as the handguard, and the main pole is 2 inches thick. And the curve here goes down to roughly 1 3/4, maybe a little less, from the 2 inches and back up to 2 inches. In the pictures of the handguard and of of the keyblade, you'll see two lines here in the pictures that represent the curve of these two circles, and they're not actually where it starts from the top of the keyblade, it's where the diameter is. So the picture is actually showing this line, not this line. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're making it. And I just used an eye hook and a snap hook and some steel welded chain to make the key chain. And here's the Mickey Mouse pendant. It's rounded like a lens with a flat edge, and each individual circle is rounded, which is how I think it's supposed to be. And it's painted with metallic gold by Rust-Oleum, and metallic silver, brown, and red. And it's covered with a coating of automotive enamel by Rust-Oleum. It was kind of hard to choose which gloss to use. That tends to dull the shine on some of these. You may notice that the silver isn't really shiny. It's kind of dull, and the gold isn't as shiny as I would hope it would be. But that's the Kingdom Keyblade D. And in other projects, I have 3 belt buckles I made for Luneth from Final Fantasy III cosplay. They go right on his vest. and I will be shipping these out tomorrow. What I did was I just took my miter saw and I cut 45-degree angles in some trim that I I took 3 different layers and I glued them together, and I shaped the top layer to be round because I had to use a square rod, and I cut them at 45-degree angles, drilled the holes, and put in some dowels. And if you haven't seen this jig before, it's really cool. They sell it at Home Depot. I don't remember what it's called exactly, but it screws right onto the piece, and it comes with these little peg holders, so when you slide your drill bit in, it keeps it straight, more or less. And so I just drilled the holes for the dowels and glued them together, and drilled holes for these metal poles that have the belt thing there. I'm not as happy with those these metal pieces here because they're not completely uniform. That was shortage of time and other stuff, and couldn't really fix it. But here's young xehanort keyblade progress. I went to the store and I forgot to bring it back inside, and it started raining while I was gone, and I left it on my table with my Dremel. But you can see I've got a little bit of detail in there. The sides here are warped a little bit, but I should be able to fix that. And one thing to remember, if you're going to do this keyblade, if you're cutting out multiple layers, even if you're not, don't cut it like this on all 3 layers. It's better just to keep it flat. I did that the first time, and I meant to fix it this time, but I just completely messed that up. So make it flat, because when you're carving it, not all of these lines here are gonna go flat like that. So that's something I'm gonna have to fix when I'm carving. But just so you guys know, if you're gonna make one. And then you have those keyblades. I have one of them somewhere. Oh, they're here on the table. Just move this stuff, and you can see my shop is really messy right now. I'm working on the skull noise. It's a bit dusty right now, but I'm working on it. This was made with plywood. I'm not sure if I made a video on this, but next time, I've started using different woods now. I've started using red oak and poplar and regular laminated pine, which are much better choice if you have the choice. Red oak is good for strength, but it shows off the wood grain too much. So unless you're willing to put in a lot of wood filler and a lot of time into that, I suggest you use poplar instead, or maple, or whatever fits your needs best. But I'm going to start using poplar more. And that is the end of my video. Keep in touch. Check out my DeviantArt channel. I do have a Facebook page, but I'm still working on a business name, so it's not very popular. It's just called Cosplay Props. If you find it, congratulations. And if you can't, that's cool. So see you guys later.